Good morning, everyone, and welcome inside the Spotlight Omaha podcast, where we take you around the city of Omaha, introduce you to local business owners, influential figures, and people who are making an impact on our community. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your business online. If you could benefit from any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. Joining me inside of the Pyramid Contractor Studios, Aaron Frederick of Starting Strength Gym here in Omaha. Aaron, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me out.
Talk to me about the concept, man, because obviously it's no secret. We're inside Going Vertical out here. It's a big, spacious gym with a ton of equipment and obviously 3 basketball courts. Your guys' approach is a little bit different. It's much smaller. Why is it such a? It's by design.
Yeah.
Why is it such a big deal to have a smaller gym/workout facility for people to attend?
Well, so for us, the difference between us and most gyms is our gym is a vessel through which the training is delivered, not the product itself. The product is the training and the coaching. The gym is just how we deliver that.
Yeah, and albeit they're both 2 gyms, but they're very different. Obviously, we're training athletes out here. You guys are training core strength and helping people of all ages kind of develop strength. Why is it such a big deal to maybe not necessarily help football players or wrestlers or whoever, but adults in the community that aren't athletes, but just build their strength up and keep the community strong?
Well, so strength is, at its simplest form, just your ability to produce force against the outside environment, right?
Yeah.
Our goal is to increase everyone's ability to do that and therefore make everything else in life easier, because everything represents a smaller portion of the strength you have every time you do it. Every time you walk up and down a flight of stairs, you're doing a little miniature version of a squat.
That's a good point.
If you can squat much heavier than you can now, then that's just much easier for you.
What do you think is the most important daily workout as far as like to keep motion? Like what is the one thing you would recommend to people just to keep range of motion throughout their body?
Well, so we recommend everyone start with a starting strength novice linear progression, which is basic barbell movements. You learn how to squat, you learn how to deadlift, you learn how to bench press the bar overhead. If you're young and athletic, you should learn how to power clean or power snatch.
Because?
Because that's the display of your strength. That is power, which is your force displayed quickly. It's a very athletic movement. We want to maintain that athleticism if you're an athlete or if you're young. As you get older, though, joints don't do so well with explosive movements, so we tend to kind of pull away from that if we have to. And everyone should probably learn how to chin up. That's definitely something everyone should be able to do. You should be able to pull your own body weight up to a bar. So we implement that as the foundation for everyone when they walk into our facility.
When we're talking about someone that's walking in the door for the first time and they're not an athlete, maybe they're an older, let's say an older lady. You guys work with a ton of older women that are past their athletic prime.
Yep.
What are some of the first questions that they have about starting this journey, building strength, and why are they usually there?
Most of the time, people come to us because their doctor has told them you need to get stronger.
Sure.
A lot of times they've been hearing the words like sarcopenia, or they've been hearing the words osteoporosis or osteopenia pretty often. And we know that if you get stronger and you put on some muscle mass, you're going to increase bone density, you're going to increase longevity. So that's usually what they're coming to us for. They're usually saying, hey, I know I need to do this. I just don't know where to start. And that's where we begin. That's why we're starting strength. Our goal is to get you started and then carry you through that process for a long time.
It's obviously different for everybody, but what are some of the struggles people have when they first walk in the gym, and how quickly do you kind of see those struggles go away?
Very few people know how to squat to depth. That is a thing that you have a lot of athletes that are now in their 40s and 50s. They come in and they'll say like, oh, well, in high school, I squatted 600 pounds. We're like, hey,
we're not doing that.
yeah. Like, that's great. I'm glad you did that. Let's start with just a bodyweight squat and see where you're at. And then we show them how to squat through the starting strength method, how we use the hips to drive the bar upward. And we find that a lot of people struggle with that. They struggle with that last couple of inches of their squat, or they struggle with remembering the movement pattern from day to day.
We often see people that get on a strength journey, a weight loss journey, a financial journey, often have other positives in their lives. What are some of the bonus effects outside of the gym that people see just by getting healthier and getting stronger?
Well, and I'll give an anecdote. I have a member at our gym, Jody. She came to us. She had been told by her doctor she needed to start considering getting a wheelchair because she had several spinal fusions and had no feeling below her hips. She couldn't feel her legs at all.
Sure.
And what we did is we taught her how to squat. Even though she couldn't feel her legs, she learned how to squat. We make it safe. We have her in a cage. She has safety set. We have coaches for everything you do. There's a coach there watching you and coaching you through it. We got her stronger that way through squats and deadlifts and bench press and press. And now she goes hiking with her family. She's found that she's coming off some of her medications.
Wow.
Because as you increase your muscle mass, you have less need for a lot of these medications.
Less inflammation.
Yeah, a lot of less inflammation. Oh, a lot of less.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Less inflammation, less heart trouble because you're now making the heart actually work.
Yep.
We see a lot of people come off of blood pressure medications. We see people reduce their thyroid medications. We see people reduce their insulin intake, things like that, because muscle is a sink for glucose.
What are some people's, maybe not first, but what helps them get in a routine with what you do? Because, I mean, most workouts are routine-based. You have to do it because once you get off the wagon one time, you fall off. Well, what are some things that people do at Starting Strength to kind of stay on the routine that they're
Well, part of that is the way we designed it. When you sign up with us, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get an intro session where I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. Then you're going to go into a class time. So you might train, let's say, 6 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you have a routine already set for you. You have a class time. You have a time to be there. You're going to have 90 minutes with the coach, one-on-one, but in a group setting. So the coach rotates through the room with everyone. And you're going to end up getting calls. Like if you don't show up to class and be like, hey, what's going on? Everything okay? Are you, something come up? We can move people. Like if you're like, hey, I can't make it to the 6 o'clock class. Got to come at 7:30. Yeah, no problem. Have an empty slot in that class. You can slide into it. But we want to keep you on that routine.
Yeah. Is it a struggle for you guys? Again, the business has only been open for 60 days, Starting Strength as a franchise, but is it difficult for you guys, even in this small infancy, when there is that little bit of, hey, we've got to move stuff around for you guys to, as coaches, to kind of be able to keep up with the group?
Not really. So we have a chat program called Slack that we use. A lot of people know of this. We put people in a Slack channel. We have a channel in there that's called the Schedules and Drop-In channel. So people will just go in there and say, hey, I need to shift class times. It comes to our phone, and one of the coaches just goes, okay, no problem. Let me look and see if that's a possibility or not. We're working on having people actually move themselves from class to class. That's a little bit sketchy, though. We got to work some,
because it changes the routine, right?
Yeah, it changes some things out, and we don't want people moving around too much because they can mess up their training.
When we're talking about a business that's been open for 60 days, how has staffing worked for you guys? Obviously, we talked about a smaller, more intimate gym, but it looks like from some of the videos we've seen, some of the publicity stuff that you guys have done, it feels like you're very well staffed. Is that the case?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't open this business because I wanted to be a business owner. I opened it because I wanted to be a coach, and nobody else was going to do this.
Sure.
So I did it. So I'm the head coach, and my wife is the other coach.
Your wife's name is?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
Your wife's name is?
Oh, Brittany Frederick.
Shout out to Brittany.
Yeah, shout out to Brittany, doctor of occupational therapy. So she comes in and she trains people in the mornings, and then she goes and works for Hetra. I don't know if you've ever had Hetra.
Nope.
Oh, Hetra's amazing. Shout out to Hetra. Big shout out to Hetra.
We'd love to have them on.
Yeah, I'll put you in contact with them. And what they do is equine-based occupational
This the horse riding place?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I think I know somebody that works there.
They're pretty awesome.
But as far as you mentioned it, and you can't help but see in your face when you talk about it, coaching's a passion for you.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Well, 20 years in the military.
Okay.
I did this. Yeah, that'll do it big time. I did this in the military. I was master fitness trainer for the military.
Very cool.
Spent a lot of my time helping
Which
people
branch?
I worked with. I was in the Army.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife was in the Army too. We're both retired veterans.
Sure.
We got out of the military. She decided she wanted to pursue occupational therapy, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I loved Starting Strength. So I said, well, let's do this. And it's the first time I've ever woken up at 5 a.m. and not hated my life.
Okay, because that seems to be a common theme in here when we're talking to business owners, and a lot of people are like, hey, I started this company to pay my bills, and then I fell in love with myself again, essentially along the way, because I was doing something I love. When you get out of when you're a veteran, and you can tell that you're proud to be a veteran, and you enjoyed your time in the military, but when you're able to transition to civilian life and find something you love and you have a passion for, even though you did it in the military, how easy does that make the transition to civilian life a little more easy when it's something you were doing previously, but you're obviously very passionate about it at the same time?
So it's weird because, I spent my whole life not knowing what I wanted to do with my life.
Sure.
So I joined the military at the age of 18 because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I was like, well, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then that just kind of became my career. And I was like, well, I'll do this for 20 years, and then I'll figure out what I want to do with my life. So for me, the transition out of the military was easier as soon as I realized what I was going to do. But until that moment, that last year that I was in the military, I had 1,000 different plans, and none of them seemed like I wasn't happy about any of them.
Yeah.
And I kept coming back to the idea of like, I really would like to be coaching people. And my wife was like, well, you love starting strength. They want you to become a coach. I was at the time training down in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. We won't hold that against you.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I was at Fort Hood, and she was in college in Austin, and it was one of those things where it's like, it's yeah.
I think we have to do this.
Yeah,
Sorry,
little California, right? But shout out to the coach down there, Mark Diffley, one of the greatest people ever. He taught me almost everything I know. He took me under his wing. He knew I was getting out of the Army. I staffed as a coach there for a while before we decided to open our own gym. And that time spent there is what made me realize this is absolutely what I got to do. And from there, it was just, there was no stopping.
We're catching up with Aaron Frederick of Starting Strength Omaha here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. When we're talking about looking for a coach and finding somebody to help, what are the qualities you look for? And what do you think is the best quality about somebody that's coaching strength?
Okay. Well, I think they need to understand first and foremost that strength is for everyone.
Sure.
Absolutely everyone. No matter who you are, if you get stronger, you'll be a better version of yourself. And we're not trying to turn you into a power lifter. So if I find
Is that a common misconception?
It is, yeah. Especially when we have barbells and we're squatting and we're deadlifting and we're benching. People are like, oh, I don't want to be a power lifter. Like, no one's doing that.
We don't want you to either.
That's a competitive sport. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to find a coach that understands your goals and understands how to get you to your goals efficiently. And that's our big thing, is efficiency. If you wanted to come into our gym and say, my goal is to squat 600 pounds, sure, we're going to get you to that goal. We will train you like a power lifter.
But that's probably
a
low percentage.
Yeah, very small percentage of people.
When we talk about the modern day gym, I think everybody sees somebody show up with a circle light and a cell phone and they're putting their stuff on TikTok. You guys don't have any technology in your gym, and we already talked about it's very close quarters. Is that to kind of try to keep that type of stuff out?
Somewhat. I think a larger portion of it is the fact that you're there for the coaching and the community. So we want that community to be built. Like, we have people who will sit on their cell phones during their rest times, but generally speaking, it's a community of people that are starting to get to know each other. We have people that get together and go out drinking, on the evenings without
not great for fitness, but that's fine.
Well, sure, that's fine. I mean, but again, we're not trying to build like the perfect fitness athlete. I mean, I drink whiskey all the time, and I'm not going to.
You look
stop.
like you're doing fine.
Yeah,
for
right.
yourself.
Yeah, if you get muscle on you, it's gonna solve a lot of that, right? But they get together and they'll go out and do things, and they've built their own little communities from within the gym. Another part of what we're doing is we don't have mirrors in our gym. Right. So we don't want you posing in front of the mirror, because that's not what you're there for.
Yeah.
You're there to get coached to get stronger.
Do most people like that aspect? The fact that some people don't like looking at themselves.
Yeah, it's well, for one, mirrors are distracting. Yeah. If I'm squatting and suddenly there's movement in my line of sight, that's going to throw things off. I'm not going to be as concentrated on what I'm doing.
Maybe ruin your form too.
It could, especially if any change in head position can change everything. I mean, that's what determines your balance right there. So we have person looking directly at a specific point, and if that point was a moving thing in the mirror, that's going to throw things off.
What role does weight loss play in what you guys are doing at Starting Strength?
It plays a larger role after the first few months. Once you've put on muscle mass, it's much easier to lose body fat, because that muscle mass increases your caloric demand, right? So we do have people come in and say, I really want to lose this body fat. And I look at them and I say, look, let's stop thinking in terms of mass. Let's stop thinking in terms of body weight on the scale. And let's think, what if you weighed 20 pounds more than you do now, but you had 13% less body fat on your body? Wouldn't you be happier then? And that's almost always like, hell yeah.
Of course.
Right.
How difficult is it for some people? Because I think the number on the scale has become this iceberg that your ship is trying to steer away from, and so much. But to your point, weighing more can be a better health benefit. Is that a big hurdle for almost everybody?
I think it is, especially for women. Not to sound sexist, but that's just that's our society, right? Yeah. It's much harder for women to wrap their head around the idea of gaining 10 pounds,
because everything in our society tells them that that's a negative.
Yeah, and it's better for you. 9 times out of 10. But if you weigh 135 pounds right now and you think, oh, I'm skinny fat, and then you put on 10 or 15 pounds of muscle, and you lose 5 pounds of fat.
And it looks different.
It looks way different. So you're a whole new human at that point.
You guys put a really emphasis, we've talked about it a couple of times, really big emphasis on training elderly people and helping them regain strength to help, get away from medicine, get away from assisted living, things like that. Why is that such a big deal for you?
Well, there's a few reasons. My mother's 74 years old, and she's very independent.
Your mom's name is?
My mom, Judy.
Shout out to Judy.
Yeah, absolutely. She's never going to listen to this.
Yeah, that's all right. Give me your email. I'll send it to
her. Yeah. She'll just write in the spam folder.
It'd probably get there anyway.
She's very independent because she's maintained a healthy living her whole life. But I have had a lot of friends whose parents were old and couldn't take care of themselves. And one of my parents is kind of getting up there, and he's not doing as well as he could have had he been strength training his whole life. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't want to be there, and I don't want other people to be there. That bothers me.
How much of what you do, and obviously we've talked about your passion for it, is to make sure you stay healthy too, though?
A pretty good bit. When I joined the military, I was 125 pounds. I was a competitive swimmer.
About the same weight now, right?
Definitely not the same weight. Yeah, no, I'm actually 275 now. I was almost 300 pounds for a while there. Yeah, I decided it's just too much mass to carry. I couldn't sustain it. But I got fat my first few years in the military, which is just really what you're not supposed to do. And it's because all I ever did was run and eat and stress. And then once I started to learn how to get stronger, things got better for me. So like going forward, my thought process has always been, if I maintain my muscle mass, one, I can eat just about anything I want and not really, have the effects of it. I mean, obviously I don't binge and eat donuts all the time.
Sure.
Protein's always a focus. But if I want to go have a T-bone steak, it's not going to ruin my diet because that is my diet.
Let's talk about that. Because obviously you can't outwork a diet. No matter how much you try to train them, how much you try to run or whatever. If you're eating bad, it's going to be a bad reflection on your health. How much of a struggle is that for most people?
It's not as much of a struggle in the sense of cleaning their diet up. That's not really that hard for most people once they realize, like, hey, I got to do something different.
Maybe Burger King twice a day is not a good idea.
Hey, look, Burger King is great calories if you want to get big. Shout out to there you go. Paid sponsorship from Burger King for you.
Chicken nuggets do wonders.
Chicken. Fried chicken's my favorite, hands down. But if you want to live your life and be strong and live in longevity, you have to focus on protein in your diet. And that's the harder thing because protein's very filling.
Yeah.
So if I have a 200-pound male come in the gym and I say, hey, you probably need to be eating about 200 grams of protein a day, that's a daunting task for a lot of people. 168 grams of protein in a rotisserie chicken. So you got to eat a whole rotisserie chicken every day. You're not going to do that. Most people are not going to do that. That's fine. We just want you to try to get better. It's always about one step better than last time.
And we're catching up with Aaron Frederick of Starting Strength Omaha here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. I wrestled for 12 years, and gaining weight and losing weight is really harsh on the body. But you mentioned that you were a swimmer, and most swimmers are pretty trim and pretty lightweight. You mentioned you were 125 pounds. How big of a life adjustment was it from you from going from competitive swimming to deciding, hey, I want to change my lifestyle, put a little more muscle mass on, and carry more weight?
Well, before I was able to do that, I had to get fat, and I did it on accident.
Sure.
I got very fat. I got married. I had kids.
Mm-hmm.
Your life slips away from you
Trust
a little bit.
That'll make you fat.
Yeah, right?
I'm a prime example right now.
Hey, you're doing great. But for me, it was not that I was small and needed to get bigger. For me, it was the other way around. I was fat and I needed to be a different kind of bigger. So I needed to change from being I think I was like 265 at my worst.
Sure.
But it was a flabby 265.
Yeah.
I had to go from a flabby 265 to what I am now. I had to first lose a little bit of weight. I had to get that under control, and then I had to start putting on muscle.
What was the best way to lose weight in your opinion? For you, it's obviously different for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody, it's a little different. For me, what I did was I started managing my calories better.
Sure.
That was a big part of it. It always comes down to calories in, calories out. I'm not a fan of fad diets. Most of them work because you reduced the calorie intake. What I did
sprinkle a little bit of fairy dust on top.
You just pretend that it works. What I did was I went from eating regularly fried meals every night and 2-foot long Jersey Mike subs to eating half of that.
Sure.
And losing a little weight.
Difficult or no?
It was not difficult for me because I had some good guidance. The guidance was don't do it all at once. And that's probably the best piece of advice I can give anyone is do one change, wait and see what happens, then do another change.
One of the hot button topics in the weight loss, physical strength and conditioning world is Ozempic, and it's that's been the reaction from a lot of people. But when somebody is so driven on losing weight and trying to do it as quickly as possible to help in their mind look as good as possible, what's the advice that you give to somebody that is looking for for lack of a better term, get rich quick scheme in weight loss?
Look, if you're morbidly obese, if you have health concerns based on your weight, like you're so obese that you have to lose weight now or you're going to die. That's not my realm. That's not my wheelhouse, right? If the doctor says you should go on Ozempic to lose weight or you should get your stomach stable, like fine, that stuff's proven to work, right? What we tell people is if you're going to do that, you need to strength train with it because you're going to lose a lot of muscle mass in conjunction. Yeah, you're going to lose total mass, not just fat, right? So try to hold on to as much of that muscle as you can because that's what's going to keep it from all rebounding back and getting fat. That's your metabolism right there.
What is your let's talk short-term goals. Yeah. What's the goal you want to accomplish? Again, the business has only been open for 60 days in Omaha. If we're talking a year from now, what's one thing you want to make sure you guys accomplish in the next year?
I'd like to have enough members in the gym that I got to hire another coach.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
How close is that to happening?
Well, we have right now a total of 22 members in the gym. We have a cap at 106. We can only have 106 members in our gym.
Again, small space.
Yeah, small space, and it's designated class times, designated platforms. Like you're not sharing equipment, so it's yours.
Yeah. What about a second location? Is that something you guys have ever talked about?
No, thank you. I don't.
Do you need a minute to think about
don't
it?
Even need to because I've been asked this before, and I say the same thing. I didn't do this to be a business owner.
Yeah.
If someone else would have done this, I would have happily been the coach at their gym. But no one else wanted to do this.
What's the best part about being a business owner? We just need one.
No, just one. Really? You know what? If I have to pick something, it's the fact that
you can give as many as you want. I just didn't think you thought there was one.
No, it's hard to find one. I get to make my own rules.
Yeah.
To some extent. I think that's a big part of it. Like if someone walks in my gym and they're just like some gym bro that's not going to listen. We're not for you.
Maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, maybe it's not for you.
Don't wear a tap out shirt in here.
Yeah, right. Affliction. That's the affliction's the one. Yeah.
If there's something you didn't know about being a business owner a year ago that you know today that you wish you knew, what is it?
Have a circle of people you trust, and it's a certain specific people. It needs to be an accountant you trust. It needs to be a lawyer you trust. It needs to be someone who can give you advice on how to run that business if you don't know what you're doing. Right? Some form of marketing strategy or someone you can work with that will help you. I think you guys are working with Pixel Fire. I love Courtney out at Pixel Fire. Shout out to Courtney. We don't use them right now, but we're going to consider it in the future. It looks like it's doing really well. Yeah,
it is.
I can't remember the fifth one off the top of my head, but you need to be able to get naked with those people. That's how much you need to trust them.
Sure.
Like, don't get naked.
Don't
with
actually,
them, but don't actually get naked.
Feel like you can.
Yeah, feel like you trust them that much.
You mentioned Courtney. Obviously, you know Courtney through networking. We found you through Centersphere as well. What has networking done for your business?
Almost half of our members in our gym are people we've done networking with.
Wow.
Yeah. So what we'll tend to do is we'll contact someone or they'll contact us and we'll say, look, come on in and try it out, see what it's like. And that's what I tell anybody who's listening. Come on in, talk to us, try it out. We have a deal for people that want to try it out. And then once you try it out, right now we have about out of the 10 people that we've given that deal to, 9 of them stayed. So 90%
That's
success.
Pretty good hit rate for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you for a quick second. And I know we focused on that a little bit, but how do you balance starting a new business, being a husband, being a father, helping your wife with her business while she's helping with you? How do you balance all that?
When I figure that out, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that seems to be the common answer. Actually,
I'm at that gym from 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. Every day, 6 days a week. So
you just closed on Sundays?
Yeah, we're closed on Sundays. Okay. And we're not actually open those hours. That's just how long I'm there.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I've been in this room today since 8 o'clock this morning. Right. I understand.
For a 1 hour podcast, right?
I did one before this too.
Okay.
That's fine.
But Sunday is how I balance my day.
Yeah.
Or balance my work. Yeah.
Is that a big deal for you? to be able to have that one day
Yeah,
to recharge?
absolutely. Like I almost never will work on Sunday. That's not never. I have had some people that are like the only day
You're
I
a
can come
business
in and
owner
do an
now,
intro.
pal. You're working
Yeah.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
What is if what about individual growth? We've talked about growth of what growth of the company looks like. What is growth for you, and what defines success for you in this role at Starting Strength?
Well, so we have a bit of a competition between the gyms
Yeah.
on growth, and that's kind of a focus for the business, right? But we
And
also
you mean the other Starting Strength franchises?
Yeah, there are other start, and we're all very intimately related. So, like for example, a membership at our gym is good at their gym. So if you're coached with us and you travel to Dallas and you're going to be there for a week, like you can
walk
drop in and you get the exact same level of coaching there that you get with us.
Very cool.
Well, that's not true. I'm better, but anyway,
I was waiting for it.
I'm the humblest coach in the world. I tell you.
I always tell people you don't want to lose to me at anything. I'm not going to let you forget about it.
But so that network of growth, right, is it allows us to actually form a bit of a competition between us. So personally, for me,
You want to kick everybody's ass.
I just want to kick everybody's ass. Yeah, I want to be the most successful one. Yeah.
It feels like the franchise model is something that's seen an explosion, specifically here in the Omaha area, and obviously we only do this podcast in Omaha, so maybe everywhere. But buying a franchise and having somebody you can ask questions to and piggyback off and have a sounding board. How big of a deal is it for you? Has it been for you to have other Starting Strength?
Massive. I actually run a monthly meeting between all the Central Time Zone gym owners.
Shout out to Slack.
Yeah, Slack. Well, we do that one on Microsoft Teams or something like that. Yeah,
okay.
Because it's a video conference where we share like experiences, things that are working, things that aren't working, problem solving, stuff like that. But more than that, part of our franchise, the Starting Strength Gyms franchise, is we have a network of people with a lot of experience there. Ray Gillenwater, Jen Gillenwater, Nick Delgadillo. These are all big names within the Starting Strength community. But in addition to that, these are all very successful business people.
Yeah.
And when we were opening, it was a phone call away. Hey, Jen, I don't know what to do. This lawyer is saying this, and I don't like the sound of this lease agreement. What can I do? What should I do? And she talks you off the edge of the cliff.
It kind of as a nice segue. You guys are located out in Wright Plaza. What is the
Pepperwood Plaza? Pepperwood Plaza. Yeah, 156 in Dodge.
Yeah, I was right out. You guys are outside of the strip mall, though, correct?
No, we're actually in that. So there's Fashion Cleaners right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
we're right next to that Fashion Cleaners.
What has the response from the stores and businesses around you been like?
I mean, it's awesome. I go outside and I talk to some of the owners, and right now they're doing some construction on the sidewalk, and we're sitting around like looking, going like, when is this going to be over with?
Yeah,
like, we have a good communication.
They don't know.
Yeah, no one knows. But like, there's other training facilities. There's that Pure Bar, which I think is like a ballet kind of thing.
Sure.
And then there's
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, there's an F45 over there, which is that whole like circuit training style of training.
Kind of like CrossFit type style. Right?
Yeah, it's more like the Mark Wahlberg method of like, just sweat your butt off.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's exercise. It's exercise, right? Exercise versus training. And we all, I mean, I love them all. I go to La Peep. I go to the restaurants over there all the time. Yeah.
Was there a specific reason why you guys chose that location?
Yeah, we wanted to be far enough west because of the growth of Omaha.
Sure.
Originally, we had looked at Rockbrook Village, which is a beautiful location. I liked it a lot, but it's a little more central, and we didn't want Omaha to outgrow us.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, just since I think like that area is now like almost midtown. By the way, Omaha's growing. Hey man, we're starting to hit that point where we tend to shut her down for the day. Is there anything about Starting Strength that we haven't mentioned that people should know?
You don't have to come to me to do what we do. What you do when you come to me is you're paying for the experience that I have to make it a smoother process for you, right? So I tell people all the time, if you come to us, you talk to us, and you're like, I can't make these times in these classes, or I can't pay for this, that's fine. I'll give you the resources. Go do it on your own, and when you run into a problem, then come back to me.
Do you guys do anything on like virtually?
Like virtual training? Yeah, we do online coaching as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a few online clients. It's suboptimal, but it works.
Well, that's awesome, man. Hey, I greatly appreciate it. Congratulations on all the early success, and we'd love to talk to you again in the future when you have things up and running.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's Aaron Frederick with Starting Strength Omaha. You can their website is scrolling across the bottom of the page right now. If you'd like to head over and sign up for a membership and learn how you can build strength through their program, please do so. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 o'clock here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, talk to another new business owner and learning about what they do at 11 a.m. here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio.